But we're so excited today to talk shop about technology, AI, workflows. I feel like in all of the time that I've worked in the industry, the two biggest buzzwords that really even define and showed me what a buzzword is would be workflows and AI. So I think it's super cool. We're all jumping on a call today so that way we can go ahead and just talk about where everything exists today, how to enforce it into your office, into your practice, and then where it's heading as well. I'll hand it over to Ty first to introduce himself, and we'll go from there.
Awesome. Thanks, Nora. Yeah, my name's Ty. I'm a product manager here at Jump, and I help specifically with the integrations at Jump. And I'm really excited to work with the Hubly team and excited for this integration. So I'll be the one presenting today. Thanks.
Thank you, Ty. And Arnold, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, hi, I'm Arnold Shu, CEO, co-founder of GReminders. Excited. We've been working with Precise and so excited to work with Hubly here as well. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. And Anand?
Yes, hi, I'm Anand with Pulse360. Excited for the work that I think all of us have put together combined. This was not any single person doing, so there was a lot of work going in to ultimately really help all of you as financial advisors, right? We're trying to bring value to your practice. So excited to show you what we've got cooked up as well.
Sweet. Thank you so much. And now I'll pass it to Louis to introduce himself, and then he'll jump right into Hubley.
Everyone, for those that know me, my name is Louis. I'm the co-founder and product owner here at Hubly. This is a really exciting integration announcement with all of our AI note-taking partners here. As you know, we're bringing together two incredibly important buzzwords in this space and making them work beautifully together. And we're going to show you guys how we've done all of that today. For those on the call, I do see a number of Hubly users, so excuse me if some of this, but there's a number that aren't and are not familiar with Hubly. Hubly is a workflow operating system purpose-built for financial advisory firms. If anyone has ever used Trello or Asana or Monday.com or Process Street, think of Hubly in a similar realm, but purpose-built and on steroids for financial advisors and their teams. We are specifically built for operations advisors. A lot of firms that use us do about 100 to a billion in AUM and really are looking to increase the efficiency of their CRM. Hubly allows for smarter workflows and ultimately smarter teams, allowing for more team accountability, more visibility into workflows, and a ton more automations. We're quite a bit different from a CRM. If you've ever played with Hubly before, I'm assuming many of you have experienced CRMs. They're quite clunky when it comes to workflow management and automations. Hubly is beautiful, flexible, and allows for a lot of no-code automations to be easily set up. Hubly is built for a number of different workflows and processes in your firms and is used for client onboarding, to client reviews, to money movement, to tax prep and planning. And so any workflow you can build in Hubly. We even have an advisory firm that has an amazing plant office watering workflow built in Hubly, which is used very often. Ultimately, we believe at Hubly that your back office deserves better. And Hubly is going to help increase the efficiency of your back office team, helping increase the capacity for you to service and work with your advisors. Some of the benefits of using Hubly is you're going to be able to 3x onboard clients faster, increase your review capacity, and ultimately make sure that nothing falls through the cracks. Hubly is used by the fastest growing firms on the market. The average advisory firm using Hubly today is growing 33% faster than the average RIA firm on the market. And so if you're a fast growing advisory firm, want to increase capacity and continue growing, Hubly is the tool for you. If anyone is not a Hubly user today, you can sign up for a free trial on our website. But ultimately today, we're here to talk about the amazing integrations with Jump, GReminders, and Pulse. And we're going to pass it over to Ty to kick us off for that. If there's anyone else on the call, I saw already a comment around integrating with Zox. Hubly does have a developer API. And here's some of the information. If there are any partners on the call who want to start building with us, as these incredible partners, Jump, GReminders, and Pulse have already done so far, and really are leading the way and have helped us build the API to date. So that being said, over to you, Ty, to kick us off and show us what Jump's been cooking.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Yeah, really excited about this. I'll go ahead and share my screen. Um, okay, let's go over here. You should be seeing a slideshow. But just a little overview of what who Jump is. So we were founded in 2023, not that long ago, and the backstory of how Jump was founded was our co-founders. One of our CEO at this time now, Parker, has a brother who's a financial advisor, and was just going on and on about how painful it is to take notes, and just the process after of following up with the client and getting data into different systems is just, it's a pain. And so that's kind of where with the AI wave that came along with that, it struck an opportunity for Parker and the team to take off, and we're now above, I think this number should be closer to 25,000 advisors that use Jump. We've got over 1 million meetings captured on Jump. We are raising money right now too, pushing hard to not only be just seen as a note taker, but going beyond that, and hoping we can be viewed as more than a note taker, and more into an AI assistant for financial advisors. So the goal of Jump is to make, not only save you time, but also make sure you're being a more effective advisor, as effective as you can be, and spend more time with the actual clients rather than doing the monotonous work that comes along with being an advisor. So that's a little bit about Jump. I'll dive in now into the actual product. I'll show you here one of the core values that Jump provides is we integrate with a lot of different platforms. So that includes CRM, most of the CRM platforms in the space, financial planning, portfolio management, and those are all bi-directional. So we pull data, we push data back after meetings. So we're really proud about that, and have worked with some great partners. But at its core, Jump is still a meeting note taker, which we join calls, however you have a call, whether it's in person or a meeting, however you have a meeting in person, over the phone, over Zoom, Teams, however it is, Jump can be there to capture the call in the meeting, and take notes. And so I'll show you here what that looks like. So here's a meeting between Preston and Ben. You can see here, this is a discovery financial planning session that happened. Jump can take these amazing notes. We can add different sections. You can customize this however you want. Here's a financial planning data section. We then also have follow-up tasks you can sync after, recap email, syncing notes to the CRM. We can update your financial plan directly based off of this context. And then I'll dive in a little bit about how the Hubly integration works now. But again, the goal is that Jump is there, an assistant that after the meeting can help you update your systems, follow through with your workflows, all of that. So that's where a Hubly integration comes in perfectly, because we know one thing I've learned with working with Hubly is that people that use Hubly love Hubly and love the workflows that come along with that. And so Jump's just there to help with that process. And so how this integration will work is, after a meeting, let me move a couple tabs that are open. After the meeting, you can then search your Hubly clients in a dropdown. And what Jump will do is it will look through all of your processes that you have, your workflows, and suggest potential workflows to kick off. So in this example, it's looking through 20 different processes that I have, and suggesting, hey, based off of the meeting content that you talked about in this meeting, it makes sense to kick off the prospect 2 and prospect 3 workflow in this example. And I'll show you what that looks like here. Let me go ahead and click confirm. And that will sync right over to Hubly here. Let me pull up that workflow here. for that process. Prospect. And there you go. You can see the Ben Wyatt added there. But one thing's for sure is we wanted to put the keys into your hand as far as like telling us what each of these workflows means. So right now we have default prompts. So this right now I'm in the user settings for the Hubly integration. And you can see here we have like a default prompt of when this should be kicked off, this workflow. But to make this really powerful, I'd recommend going in yourself with your firm and going through each of these processes and describing to Jump, hey, this is exactly when I want a client added to a specific workflow. And once you do that and come through and fill it out, maybe take 30 minutes to do that, Jump's going to be the ultimate Hubly assistant to be able to help kick off these workflows after a meeting. And yeah, I think the potential here is huge, and we're really excited about that integration.
Awesome. So it sounds like there's key words or phrases that is being picked up and then suggesting those workflows.
Exactly. Yep. So in this example, I just add some examples myself. So like for client onboarding, I instructed the AI, hey, this is how my pipeline works. If I mention, hey, quick intro, a couple questions, we can schedule a discovery call. There's that trigger where then Jump will say, all right, I'm going to add that client to that specific workflow. Correct.
Nice. And is it automatic or is it kind of like you refresh and it's there in Hubly?
It should be so we definitely want the human in the loop still. So
Yep.
no automatic syncs. It's still going to
Okay.
be a suggested update like I showed you here. But then yeah, once you hit sync, it should automatically update into Hubly after.
Really nice.
Yeah. Last thing I'll touch on just beyond the integration, I need to give a shout out to our insights team. We put a lot of effort into insights at the account level and at the user level that are going to help advisors be more effective. So this is something we're really excited about. What you're seeing here is like a meeting. You have a month's worth of meetings on Jump. Jump can then tell you what's trending, trending objections. We can also flag what's talked about most. We can flag potential signals, which means like, hey, they mentioned a healthway asset that you might want to look into. The goal there is to make advisors more effective at what they're doing and just be an assistant. So just small plug, a little tease. I encourage you to go schedule a demo if you haven't seen this before and look through the potential of Jump. But yeah, maybe I'll stop there and see, Nora, any other questions that you're seeing come through that I should answer?
Someone asked how to add Jump to their workflow. So do you think they should just go to jump.ai and start a free trial?
Hi, I
That's a
asked
great.
for actual clarification, and Nora. They specifically asked that their advisors have Jump, but not an administrator yet.
Okay.
And so maybe Ty, if you want to comment on like how because a lot of the administrators are in Hubly, and how do they work with their advisor to make sure that these integrations are set up, any kind of best practices there?
Yeah, it's a great question. So we do have a light seat in Jump. So it's a quarter of the cost. It's for the admin role. And essentially it gives you a login to Jump and you can do everything inside of Jump besides run an actual meeting. So that's probably what I recommend is working with your advisor to add a light seat to your subscription. So then you can go in and you can actually sync notes, you can kick off workflows, you can sync tasks. All of what I showed you, you can do yourself. You just can't actually run a meeting or like have a note taker join your meeting, which shouldn't be required in this case. So that's what I'd recommend.
Perfect. Awesome. Well, thank you so much. We will see if any other questions come in, and then I'll hand it over to Arnold and we'll learn about GReminders integrating.
Awesome. Thank you. So I'll spend, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 minutes or so just talking a little bit about what we are and sort of why we exist, and then I'll kind of show you what the Hubly integration sort of looks like. So we consider ourselves sort of end-to-end meeting management, right? And so I'll talk about sort of what that means. Here are some of the customers and partners that we work with, so well established in the wealth management space. So we think of everything so we kind of look at through the lens of a meeting lifecycle. And so let me talk about what that means, and that's sort of the end-to-end piece, right? So like reaching out, understanding what the cadence that you have with your clients. You meet with them once, twice a year, once a quarter, that sort of thing. Automatically reaching out to them, getting them onto the calendar. So we have a whole sort of enterprise class scheduling product. Once they are on the calendar, we can kick off workflows. This is where one of the Hubly integration takes place. We also make sure that the clients show up. We send them email, SMS notifications, so on and so forth. Before the meeting, a pre-meeting brief, so aggregate like notes, CRM data, document data, financial planning, portfolio data, and so on and so forth, so you're better prepared for the meeting. We have a note-taker product, and then summaries, action items, and then workflows post-meeting back to your CRM and help with sort of follow-up. So that's what we think about when we say end-to-end meeting management. And when we look at the market, we see a variety of different sort of point solutions, if you will, scheduling products, middleware products, note-taker products. And so with us, you sort of get it all under one roof. And so we think a sort of smaller tech stack is sort of inherently better because there are less moving parts. So that's kind of our story. In short, this is really a lot about efficiency, right? So we're seeing Kits has ran a study a while back, and this is kind of where advisors spend most of their time, like 4 hours in meeting prep, and this is per client per year, right? Meeting follow-up and so on and so forth. And when we ran that against the folks that use our system, we're seeing about a 45 to 50% reduction. So like if you boil it all down, it's a pretty significant savings from a sort of a time standpoint, which allows you to serve more customers and so forth. Let's go through a few of these slides. So one is, again, like I said, automatically reaching out to clients, when it's time for them to book their annual review. Again, this is fully automated. You can use this for other things like birthday announcements and RMDs and so on and so forth. We have then a enterprise class scheduler where clients can select their date and time, and we support all kinds of sort of crazy advanced account teams and dynamic teams and different sorts of scheduling scenarios, along with routing if you want to route folks based on maybe assets or interest to different types of advisors. It supports all of that. Of course, you can embed this stuff in your site. And then once they book, we launch workflows, right? And so here are just examples of partners that we work with, one of those being Hubly as well as Precise, around launching flows once those meetings effectively get booked on your calendar. And so that's a big part of it. We'll make sure that folks show up. We'll send them email, SMS notifications to make sure they show up, just like your doctor's office or what have you. And then like before the meeting, for example, like we have this like pre-meeting brief. So we aggregate a bunch of stuff that happens since the last time you engaged with them, right? So we comb through emails and CRM data and document data and financial planning data and so on and so forth, and then provide that to you. And then just jumping ahead, you can also, in fact, even generate a client presentation directly from these from these previews here. Right, so this is literally an AI-generated client deck that is produced for you, so you can actually present that or make some adjustment to it before you have a call with the client. And then there's also other things like so we have like Ask Anything product essentially, which allows you to really ask any questions that you want. Think of it as ChatGPT on your client record. And from here, not only can you ask questions, but you can also do stuff. So you can ask it to create a task, or if you wanted to launch a Hubly workflow, you can also ask it to launch a Hubly flow directly from here as well. So there are multiple ways to sort of work through that. And then you have the note taker piece, right? So a lot of the folks here are focused on note taker, in person, virtual phone. We support different VoIPs and so forth. It's all branded as yours. So we try to white label that in the background. And then effectively, after the meeting, you'll get a summary similar to what I think Ty showed you. And within here, you can ask questions against it, and so on and so forth. And so once we get it, I'll jump over here just while we're talking about note taker here. So you can see this over here. This is the actual application itself. So this is like the note taker side of things. And here, if you have a call, we have a transcript, you can ask questions and so on and so forth. But over here, we have Hubly essentially integrated. And here, it's we've recommended some workflows based on the conversation, based on the context of the conversation. We've recommended those here. And so you can simply click on those. You can decide if they're relevant or not, and you can simply launch them. You would also attach your contact if it hasn't been attached yet. So sort of a very kind of similar process from that standpoint. The way you connect is you basically go to the integration side here. And this, again, this is for joint customers, for folks that are using both GReminders and Hubly today. You'd go here for integrations and you effectively connect Hubly. It's a single sign-on there. It's very simple. And then when you schedule a meeting, and I'll show you this over here. So like we go over here and we look at one of our event types, right? So event types are basically different types of meetings that you may have. And I have over here like an introductory meeting, right? And so here, this is an intro meeting. You can see it's for 30 minutes long. It's on Zoom and so on and so forth. And then over here, I have the option to, once this meeting is booked, you can essentially see here I've decided that I want to launch the initial contact Hubly flow. And if the contact doesn't exist, I'm going to create it in Hubly, right? So real simple. And so when if I do go and effectively, either share this link with somebody or book it, it's literally going to go do that thing, right? So just to give you a sense of sort of, where the integrations apply. And then you can see that here. And again, these sort of recommended workflows within AI Note Taker, and you can launch those here. So that's sort of the short of what GReminders is and sort of what we've done with Hubly. They've been a great partner, and so we look forward to the feedback.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for going through that. I know I'm guilty. I need like 5 text messages from my medical providers of appointment reminders that are coming up. So I could see that being very handy in this industry as well, to kind of mimic the experience clients are already getting from other industries. Louis and team, this will adjust to personalized workflows as well, right? Like when they choose the surge meeting, that's obviously a template. But if the team went in and customized it even further, that'll kind of be something that the team will see reflected and then can continue to customize and personalize.
Yep. So the API that all the folks here have integrated with will pull your list of workflows from your hub. And so, some firms have 10 workflows in their hub, some have 100 plus workflows. And so it will recommend based on your existing workflows in your hub, and help you basically determine which ones are the right ones to launch, depending on how you are setting up the integrations on the other side.
Really great. And Arnold, I'm sure you've had to build like guardrails and stuff for talking to the chat from within the platform, but are there like a list of default questions like try asking your AI this or I noticed that there were kind of some prompts there like add this to my CRM.
Yeah, exactly right. So everything we do is on the household record. So just share my screen real quick here. So we've integrated, again, you have to understand sort of the data layer underneath it, right? So meeting notes, previous meeting notes, CRM data, document data, email data, calendar data, and then some financial planning data. And so like if you go to, this is the record for the Roger Thornhill household. You can see that it's synced here with Redcell. And so we pull all that, but then also there's different, sort of prompts that you can essentially ask it, but you can really ask it anything you want. And we also have it hooked up to, in this case, I think we have it hooked up to Box, right? So I'm actually able to ask, what files are in Box,
Oh, nice.
and like if there's any trusts or like, can you get me different types of, can you summarize the latest trust for me, and things like that, right? So you can see there's like a trust file. I'll summarize them and so on and so forth. So it will do all that sort of stuff. And again, it's a so you see, so here it's telling you here, I've got a couple trusts, which one do I want? And if you want to say, summarize,
How
whatever.
times have changed, right? Because it
Yeah,
sounds like instead of going to Redtail, going to the family, looking at the children,
yeah.
you just ask, who are Roger's children?
Yeah, exactly. It
Hmm.
works on any types of documents. It could be Word files, Excel files, PDF files, image files, in fact, and so forth. So, anyways, it's really a lot of this AI stuff is really, and here you can see here it's summarized this relatively large trust file. And you can ask questions against and all kinds of other things, but the AI stuff really is very data layer dependent. So like it's all about the plumbing, and so we spend a lot of time in plumbing land, as you can imagine, understanding like the Thornhill is this record over here is the same record over here, and so on and so forth. So there's a lot there, and we continue to work on integrating with systems like Hubly and so on and so forth.
That's awesome. Monica is asking, does GReminders allow for different locations when scheduling, office versus virtual?
We support every advanced possible combination you can think of, be it physical, be it virtual, conference rooms, resources, all of that is supported, fully synced with systems like Microsoft Office 365 and Google. So we support every complex imaginable thing that you can imagine. We've seen it. Give us a call.
Nice. And one follow-up from Monica as well was, did you say it searches emails for info, or is that
It
within the
does.
CRM?
Yeah, exactly right. So it automatically connects to O365 or Google or IMAP and different sort of mail providers. And so we use like the ownership record on a CRM to understand like who's responsible for that, and so that way we're able to sort of effectively search for mail that matches email addresses and things like that. So we do clever stuff like that.
Really nice. And Grant asked, can you add your own template for the presentations in GReminders?
Yes. So everything we do is fully templatable and customizable. We ship with a few things out of the box, but you can fully customize meeting summaries, presentations. You can provide imagery, colors, logos, your brand, you name it. It's all customizable.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that. All right. I'll go ahead and pass it on to Anand and we'll learn about Pulse 360.
Awesome. Give me 1 second and I'll get my share going. So, um, just make sure this is working.
All right. I see your slide deck.
Awesome. So, let me just kind of give all of you a little bit of a background. I think it'll help understand the story of Pulse better. I myself was in all of your shoes, the advisors and the staff. I like to say, and I should probably trademark this, is I have over 2 decades of experience doing everything from serving coffee to clients to compliance. We built Pulse mainly because of a level of service that we wanted to deliver when I was in the field. I'm no longer in the field. That just took a lot of work to actually execute on. And what I learned over the 2 decades going to the best conferences and practice is all of the knowledge that we've put in is ultimately we want to try and grow. If your focus is trying to grow with referrals, be it referrals from your clients, be it referral from your COIs, right? If that's the path you want to go, then Pulse is, a tool that you can use to help with that journey. For example, to drive referrals, you need a couple of things. You need to make sure that once you have a process defined, you don't keep reinventing the wheel. We know many advisors will change week to week, by client to client, and then you're just basically going to be stuck there. What we feel and the way we've built Pulse for you is once you define a certain process, then not only can you execute consistently, but it makes it easy for you to scale your practice because if you bring on a junior staff, perhaps you no longer need to explain all the minutia details that this is how you want to do. So one of the ways is you want to systematize your practice, and that's where Pulse kind of helps. And then the second part, more importantly, I feel, is you should be coming across as a professional to your clients as well as the COIs. That means all of your communication should look non-AI generated. Yes, you can use AI. We have clearly AI, and all of us here have. But what we have built out is a deliverables template system that you can, once it's set up, going back to stop reinventing the wheel, right? You set up the template on how you want, and then you can have different deliverables. You're seeing some samples here from meeting agenda summaries, annual summaries, client to do, client bucket list items like, hey, client, here's what you've told us, you're interested in. These are all set up in a way that makes you look professional in any device. You can send it from Pulse using your own email to their phone, their iPad, wherever they're looking, it is always going to look pixel perfect for them. That's where Pulse really comes in. Now, let me show you the integration with Hubly. That goes to the reinventing the wheel part, right? Let's jump in and show you how Pulse works. Give me 1 second. So I'll share my screen again. So you should be seeing Nora just confirm the Pulse 360 with workflows on the screen there.
Yes.
Awesome. So similar to what Jump was doing, and just to kind of give you all a basic understanding, right? Pulse has a meeting note taker as well, just like GReminders, just like Socks, just like Jump, just like 100 other folks, right? Um, we're doing something similar here with what Jump has done as far as with the workflows. Once you have the workflows, you can actually go in and add some context to it. That way, when the AI is making recommendation, it follows your system. In this case, for example, I'm showing you Milestone as a potential workflow in Hubly. And I've just added a description that says, hey, anytime they've travel completed, purchased a home, mortgage paid off, those are all moments that you perhaps want to celebrate, right? And maybe that's where the milestone workflow kicks off. Well, with once you kind of define some of this, with Pulse 360, when you go over to a meeting, and I'll just open one up here. So we do a meeting recording. Here's a very similar meeting summary that, is produced from the transcript. Now, I'm highlighting something here for to kind of bring attention. World cruise, in the meeting we discussed, and there was a world cruise that they completed, right? Just as an example. What happens now is when you run our Hubly workflow, it is going to go through and look through the whole notes and recommend the different workflows that you perhaps want to start. So here's, for example, investment analysis for this client, risk aligns. You can change this up as you see fit. And so all of this is basically, once you say go ahead and start, it will actually send it off into Hubly itself, right? So this is one way we have incorporated Hubly, where you can use the AI to generate this. The other way we have also done it is you could individually, if you wanted to kind of add some notes around, you can individually go over and just select a particular workflow. You can search through, change out the contact. Perhaps it's not the husband, not the wife, right? You can make all of those changes and send that off into Hubly. Now, with this said, I wanted to kind of dive into the difference of the output. Now, naturally, we have a draft email very similar to what most folks have with AIs. This is the what I call the AI generated look. And you're going to see that here. Hey, Anand, it's fine, right? It looks great. You think it looks nice and professional. We feel there's another level you can jump up to, and no pun intended there. Here, if I were to close this out, this is, let me zoom back out here. This is our way of generating the output. So you're seeing here one template that we're utilizing to generate this. It has all of the different sections. You can add charts directly into the notes. Here's, let's say you captured the client's beliefs, values. You can highlight that specifically in a section so clients know, oh, yeah, this is not getting buried by this team, right? They're actually on top of things. Your action item, client to-dos with check boxes, and you can use our software to just send out an email to the client. Again, we deeply integrate with your own email. And so everything you send out of Pulse, your compliance team will be happy. It sits in your sent folder. It is being sent by you with your email and sits there. So with that, I also want to now show you the next thing that we're doing. As you're seeing here, we're breaking down notes by different topics, right? Financial planning, business planning, education. Each of these you could add, or our AI can add different tags. Like let's say there's an opportunity that you want to track later on. You can apply those tags, and then what you can do is you can come into our different area where we have something called opportunities, and you run the analysis. I've already run this, so I'm going to go ahead and open this up. And so what this will show you is basically, oh, give me 1 second. I think I need to just start my computer again, or sorry, specifically on this one. Oops, I should have done that before. Here we go.
And I noticed when we were on that workflows tab, it said source Hubly. So is it also, if you started the workflow in Hubly, it's seeing that and able to add that into your meeting prep?
Yes, exactly right. So give me 1 second and I'll share my screen again. I apologize. I guess I needed to just get that started. Let me share my screen again. Okay, so we're talking about the opportunity here. And so I've run this list here. When I click on view, it's going to go through and show me all the results for the clients and meetings I've had where I have specifically marked as opportunity. And now what you can do is instead of triggering one workflow per client, we're going into the world of scale for you, right? And so here I can select multiple. Here's Michael Jackson. Let's click on, let's say 4 of these. I can now say, let's start Hubly workflow, and you can choose. So let's say I am going to choose, retirement analysis from Hubly. Now this is going to go ahead and get this started, and I'll show you how this is going to add 4 basically workflows directly into Hubly. So if I come up here, and I think this retirement hub analysis is the one that's blank right now, but if I refresh, it should have 4 workflows kicked off for 4 different clients in one go. Let me add this back. Oh,
Really nice. And then I know, Louis, there's
I think is
insights
it.
that could happen from within Hubly of like the estates aren't going well with their clients or they need a lot more reviews on this.
Yep. So that's the idea here, what you're seeing with our bulk processing. Because if you want to be able to service more and more clients, then you need a tool where you can filter for specific things. In this case, I was filtering for opportunities that perhaps I've put in my notes. And in bulk, I can have workflow started, any workflow. As you can see here, this is the retirement analysis one that I just did. And then lastly, I want to make sure that I share how you get access to us. For Pulse 360, you can go to pulse360.com for a demo. We are also introducing, we're getting rid of the per seat pricing, just a flat price for your practice. So as you're growing, you're not continuously having to pay for that. So if you're interested, please, see us at pulse360.com, schedule a demo from that site.
Really beautiful and great point on the scalability. On your Zoom panel, there is going to be a tab there that says resources, and there will be coordinating links to each provider, so that way you can, quickly just click on that and be taken to that web page. And Anand, did you say there was a demo or a free trial?
Yes, if you go to our website, pulse360.com, you can schedule a demo. If you wanted to start a trial, we have a money back trial so that you can, for 30 days, you can try us out. And if you're not happy, we'll refund the first month premium. No problem there.
Great. And Arnold, there was a free trial as well on.
Yeah, we have both. So we have a 2 week free trial. You can just launch it directly from the site, or you can speak to one of our reps. Either way. But yeah, absolutely.
Great. And Tide, same thing. Sorry. I know we talked about that earlier too.
No, yeah, yep. Just if you look up jump.ai, you should find a free 2 week trial to try it out.
Yeah, it's always nice to jump in, have a nice safe playground to play in. And same thing with Hubly. If you go to myhubly.com, there is a 30-day trial available as well with those pre-built templates and integrations that can turn on during that time frame. So now we'll jump into kind of a Q&A discussion. And I know that there was tons of data that's provided from the meetings that are happening. And like I said earlier, like, wow, what a time we're living in where all of that can just be shown to you post meeting and you can pick and pull things and have it summarized. What is your guys' experience when you are sharing this to your clients? Are you sharing that? Do you find that clients or your advisors are sharing that copy with their clients? Or is it kind of like, hey, I don't want you to worry about anything. I'm just gonna kind of explain things on behalf of what was transcripted. Ty, I'll let you go first.
Yeah, I feel like what I've noticed is that it really depends on the advisor and their practice. One thing that's interesting to me is how many advisors want the white glove experience of we will literally do everything for you as far as like create a financial plan. Like you don't have to input any data. There's no form we're going to send you before. Um, and that's where like a solution like we all have here is really beneficial if you want that white glove experience. But I think um, I think that's where like a follow-up email as well is really helpful because then you can have an AI write a very simple high level what we talked about rather than like a full transcript or something like that. So I think those are probably the most common is just a white glove experience, but we're also sending like a very brief recap email is what I've seen most common. So
Nice. What about you, Arnold? What are you seeing?
Yeah, I mean, AI is certainly an accelerator. We call it the sort of invisible partner, if you will. And so, like, after a meeting, like Ty, I mean, in your draft, because we're hooked up to email, like in your drafts folder, like 30 seconds after the call, you'll have a draft written for you, right, in your tone and your style. And so you can decide if you want to change it, modify it, make some adjustments, and ship it off. But again, it's like, what took hours to do in the past is now taking 5 or 10 minutes. And so it really gives, significant amount of time. So if an advisor was doing, they were working with 100 clients, they can probably take on 150 or something like that. And so that would, have obviously incredibly meaningful impacts on their AUM and revenue and so on and so forth. So yeah, AI makes you superhuman is what we say.
Yeah, what do you think, Anand? I know, things slip through the cracks easily, so that's a nice way to get that information right back to the client as a mirror.
Yeah, I think as an advisor, you have to consider utilizing the latest AI technologies that are out there. As the famous saying has now gone in as, AI is not going to replace you, but an advisor using an AI, will outpace you. And so you definitely want to not be left behind on the shores and use the AI. Obviously, you do have to review.
Great. And Louis, I know that, the templates right off the bat are so great to start off with, but you can adjust it even further so that way your team doesn't have to send a Slack or a call if something's needed on a form or additional information is needed. Do you see any kind of best practices around that and making sure that, the first few times is kind of trial and error, and then from there you adjust it to make it perfect?
Yeah, I think, a couple of years ago, or in even some advisory firms still operate like this, right? Like where your average day is likely opening up your email and looking through, 100 emails, trying to figure out what happened for which client, which team member is working on what email do I need to follow up on? What email did I potentially miss? Or did I remember to send that email to my team member where I asked them to do that thing that was very urgent, right? Like a lot of people wake up every single day and like that's like the first 2 3 hours of their day just trying to figure out what's important and where did they leave things off. And I think the main thing that we're trying to solve with Hubly is that you start your day with clarity and ensure nothing falls through the cracks. And so there's a number of workflows that allow you to standardize how does your team actually provide this type of service to a client. Now, that can be an account opening service, a transfer service, a Roth conversion, a RMD, any of the common workflows that any advisory firm does. The benefit of working with Hubly is we've built workflows for hundreds and hundreds of firms, and we have a lot of those best practices on how are the most efficient advisory firms on the market opening up accounts. And a lot of it comes down to simple things like, when the advisor hops off of a call, having that call automatically trigger a workflow without needing to send an email. That's why we built an integration with these amazing partners. And then when that workflow is triggered, providing information about what type of account you want to open, that might impact what type of beneficiary information you need or how the transfers are done. And so standardizing as much of the data that is passed between your team members and then automatically what we call passing the baton, right? One person finishes a task and then having the workflow automatically remind the next person just significantly streamlines back and forth communication. And I think that's where the real long-term opportunity with integrations with more AI partners and with these individuals is like, how do we take a lot of the manual redundant work that humans do today, which is right now manually clicking buttons on an interface, and then trying to remember to click those buttons. And the next one's like, how can we make that as tight as possible so that work gets done faster for clients?
Awesome. And just talking about AI in general, um, what role do you guys think that AI should play in an advisory firm? Where do you believe humans should always stay in the loop and kind of how it works into the tech stack? Ty, I'll let you start.
Yeah, this is a conversation we have pretty often here at Jump, as far as like what is AI's role in the advisor's workflow. And the approach that we've taken is that the value add, the true value add is that relationship with the client and the insights you can bring. So as much time as we can provide back as like the AI can give you back to deepen those relationships and help your clients is time well spent. So I mean, talking with advisors, it comes down to just the monotonous tasks that really aren't deepening the relationships as much is what I think AI can really improve on. And the automatic this is why there's a message in the chat about automatic AI, trusting AI to do automatic flows like syncing notes and updating workflows and tasks and I think the approach that we've taken is that we want the human in the loop on all of those because we think AI does a great job, but the human is the one that understands the relationship, understands the nuances between the clients and the advisors, and so we've pushed for the model of this is the AI suggests you to do this or suggests you to update this, and the humans should be the ones that give the final approval, because
And
they're the ones that understand more than anyone. So
Ty, we had a long conversation about this, even building the integration, right? Like a lot of our firms that are, expert Hubly users have 100+ workflows, and the workflows have a name, right? Like account opening process or etc. And I think one of the things that Jump built really beautifully there is like just giving the workflows a description in the Jump platform increase the accuracy of the AI recommending the right workflow significantly. And so I think we still underestimate how stupid some of the AI actually is. Not, to speak to Jump or anything, but like there's still limitations in AI's capabilities. And we have a duty as the humans and the products in the space to actually help educate the AI how to make better decisions and how to support us. And so I think we still got a long way to go before, the AGI comes or whatever they call it. And I think you even see that in some of these early these integrations and experiences we're building to help make everyone's lives more automated.
Yeah, how about you, Arnold? I know it's come a long way of like you used to not be able to tell the machine to do something and now you can.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it has to do with risk, right? So understanding what are the activities that are low risk versus high risk, and where you want the human in the loop. I think in most cases you still want the humans to sort of confirm or accept or give some sort of confirmation that in fact it's correct. But as you get more comfort around these things and as you tune them, I think you're going to see more and more automation, right? In some cases we're seeing automatically like notes written back automatically, right? And we're seeing tasks being written back automatically without any touch. And again, as you get more comfortable with these tools, and as the tools also get more precise, and as the context and the data around it is better at understanding what is happening, I think you're going to see more automation. I think for high risk activities like money transfers or any sort of meaningful action, you're always going to see a human just sort of confirm. But for lower risk things, again, we're big fans of automation to the extent that it supports compliance and governance and those types of things. But beyond that, like AI and automations, we see huge opportunities in trying to understand things like client profitability, what people are asking for, where the concerns are, analytics, like all kinds of stuff like that would have taken literally years of people to do. Systems can do now. So there's a ton of opportunity. It's a wonderful time to be in this space.
Yeah, definitely. What about you, Anand?
Yeah, I think I would second pretty much what everybody here has said. I will also say that, one of the things that you as a human advisor or team want to pay attention to is, AI is great at creating the summaries. For example, you saw it recommended the workflows, that should be kicked off. Similar to Jump, we've done the description for the Hubly workflow so it gets more context. However, if, for example, there's opportunities, like, for example, a client says, never ever talk about sin stocks for me, right? I'm aging myself here. Probably it's not called sin stocks anymore. But, if those type of things, somehow sometimes AI may not put as much importance on. And so this is where you want to come in and not only have the AI do its work, but also have a tool set that you can manually say, I always want to remember this, right? Never ever talk about sin stocks. And with Pulse, that's what we've built out. You can apply specific tags. And then when you're doing meeting prep, it'll go through that and say, hey, I always want to highlight this. It is deterministic, because you as an advisor have said so. So don't just depend entirely on AI. There's an element of human in the loop making something very, very determined. Like I always want to know they don't like sin stocks, or they want to go on a world cruise, or they have two kids and they don't like the second one, right? Things of that sort. You want to make sure it is done by the human to say, hey, for file prep, for meeting summaries, I want to remember these things.
Yeah, that's true. I feel like something I've always noticed is, as everything has come about, is not to delegate this AI to anyone else. You know, it's easy as an advisor to be like, I'm going to delegate this to so and so. They are going to be in control of it. But as an advisor, you know, I find that it's much better to get off of the fence and you know start to be involved in it yourself like you're saying, so that way those little hiccups don't happen and you could just be nimble as things progress.
I mean, ultimately, as an advisor, you're getting paid not just because you have this fancy investment model, right? You're getting paid for that relationship. And if there's a certain things that, the clients have told you that you want to make sure that it remembers, yeah, you can delegate majority of your work to the team, but as an oversight, you can add value by specifically saying, I always want to remember this, always bring it up in my meetings, things of that sort.
Yeah. And I know, Louis, with like birthdays, for example, you know, the all the softwares will tell you that it's so and so's birthday coming up or today, but I think Hubly does a good job of actually doing something about it and making sure that everyone gets those warm and fuzzies inside.
Yeah, it's great. Like, we have a number of different no code automations, like things your, CRM would never do. Is Hubly's automation can actually monitor your clients' birthdays. And so you can set up an automation that says, 2 weeks before my client birthday, please trigger my workflow and then automatically assign a task to my assistant to prepare a birthday card and then also order a gift for the client. Like the workflow can do all of those steps for you by clicking two buttons and setting up one automation. And so really powerful in terms of like team and task delegation, which I think most advisors can get better at, is actually delegating work to their team efficiently and not being the bottleneck. And Hubly's great at helping do that.
Definitely. All right. Well, I want to thank each and every one of you for jumping on today and speaking on the whole concept of workflows and AI. And we're just excited to see where the future goes with all of this. Definitely excited to see all of that hyper personalization take off with AI and with the workflows. But otherwise, I want to thank everyone so much for your time today and have a great rest of the day, everyone.